In this video, I'm going to show how to buy comic books from your local comic book shop, even if they don't carry the comics. Basically, this is about how to pre-order comics um, from your local comic shop. So if you already know how to do this, this is irrelevant information for the most part. But if you haven't done it before, or if you're new to, you haven't done it in a while, maybe this is information you may want, because there's a lot of comic books that are coming out every month and are being advance solicited every month, meaning that there's a list of comics that are going to be coming out in a few months. And you may be totally oblivious to them, may not know about them because your local comic shop doesn't carry them. So this is going to be what that's about. Now, I'm recording this on October 2nd, 2024, and this is the current previews catalog right here. And then you also have Marvel DC's catalog. We'll talk about that in a bit. I got this for free from my local comic book shop. Now, they do have a price on them. Let's see, it's $4.99 is the price. I've never actually had to pay for a previews catalog before, even though they're a really big, thick catalog. Because comic book shops, some of them will offer them to customers for free if they are going to order comics out of them, so they want to get people to buy comics, so some shops don't do that, so, but it is worth it if you want to get a sense of what's coming out, what the scene is like, you want to get your hands on what's happening in comics right now. This is a good way to do it. It's only $4.99. So most people don't keep them, though. They kind of throw these away when they're done. In fact, I had a previous video about a year or two ago where I showed this previews catalog from 1998. Most people, including me, would just throw these away. I happen to still have this for some reason, and so I went through it. Now, as you can see, it's pretty much the same as these current catalogs. Same sort of format and stuff, where it just has lists of what's coming out, and you buy it. I don't know if people collect these or not, but trying to get information from 1998 that is in that catalog would be probably very difficult. Just because that information disappears. Now, a lot of these catalogs are posted online, so you can get this on the web as well, or a facsimile thereof. But because it's going to show like all the listings, publishers will have their solicitations, is what they're called, or advanced solicitations, and it just lists what's coming up in the next like 2 months, like for 2 months from now. So this is the October 2024 catalog. It shows what's coming up in December 2024. And there's a certain cutoff date. It's called FOC date, where say it's, I don't know, each one will have like a different date, but say if something is coming out, in a certain date, and it would be like December 5th or whatever, you have till October 30th or whatever to order it. And there's an order form in here amongst all the ads somewhere in here. We'll get to it. There it is right there. There's an order form in here, and you tear this out, or you can make a copy, take it to your local comic shop, because assuming you got this catalog from your local comic shop, you fill it out, you say, how many you want. Usually just be one. If you want it to add to your pull list or not, it says add to subscription. You can leave that blank, I guess. Item number, which is like a 6-digit number. The title of the product, DuckTales number 2 or whatever. Page number that it's listed on in the catalog. The page numbers are just here at the bottom. So 129 or whatever. The price of the comic, say it's $3.99, you put $3.99. And total, if you're only getting one, it would be $3.99. But if it's, if you're getting two, it'd be $7.98 or whatever, You fill out your name, your address, all the stuff. You sign it just in case, I guess, something is mature readers. I guess they want a signature on there. And then you leave that blank. That's for the store. You leave this blank. That's for the store. You take it into your comic shop and order it. Now, the thing is, every comic shop has different policies about stuff. So before you would do anything, you would go to the shop and say, hey, am I able to advance order, pre-order comics from you? And they tell you what the policy is. They may not. They may say, no, we don't do that. Or they may say, you have to pay in advance for the comic. So if you're going to order this, or some might say just order on their website. They have a website set up they want you like Comic Hub or something like that, and they want you to do it that way instead. Um, or it's like I said, some may have you pay in advance. I've never had to pay in advance. They get your credit card on file. That way, the shop isn't stiffed when the stuff comes in and the person doesn't show up to buy it, and now they're stuck with something they, or otherwise might not have ordered. But like I said, I prefer not to pay in advance. If you find a shop that's like, yeah, we'll give us the sheet, we'll pre-order it, and then you buy it when you come in, and usually you shouldn't have a problem doing that if you're a good customer. So, anyways, a little history here. Diamond Distribution is the one that does this previous catalog for 25, 30 years. They were like the main distributor of comic books until the pandemic happened in 2020. And there was a lot of shutdowns. So Diamond was shut down. A lot of comic book shops across North America were shut down. But DC still wanted to distribute their comics. So they were no longer distributed by Diamond. And they went with Lunar Distribution, which is a different distributor. And then Marvel did the same. And they went with Penguin Random House. And then IDW went with Penguin Random House. Image went with Lunar. So now comic book shops have 3 different distributors that they had to deal with every month, which, is good for competition, I guess. You have some options, but on the other hand, it means you have a lot more paperwork to deal with and stuff like that. So you can get this Marvel catalog for free from your local comic shop, and the DC catalog, they're not sold separately, they're available separately. Now, the funny thing is in one of my previous videos recently, last week or so, I showed the electronic versions of these catalogs, because you can also just go on the web and download the PDFs of both of these catalogs for free. And usually at the end of every month is when the solicitations come out. And that's, like I said, the listing of what's coming out in 2 months from now. And so you have time to order it. And so I had looked at both of these online and did a comparison. I was like, which is better these days, DC or Marvel? And I was more excited about the DC offerings than I was about the Marvel offerings. The funny thing is I was just looking at the PDFs, but when you compare the actual printed catalog, the DC one is like printed on newsprint. It doesn't pop as much. So if I had just gotten the print version, I might have been like less impressed with DC. Then Marvel's is all on glossy paper. So even though the content is less interesting to me, it really does. It's thicker. It's much more of a showcase for that. So it's good, probably even just to, if you weren't impressed with the digital version, it might be good just to check out the printed one at your local comic shop. Anyways, so here we are at the previous catalog, which we're finally getting into here. This is an overwhelming experience reading the catalog because, like I said, it's super thick. It's loaded with stuff. There's not only just listings of what's coming out, but here's an interview with Chris Ryall. I'll show it there at the top. There's all sorts of stuff. Now, it lists everything except Marvel and DC. I should also mention that there's a user's guide here. I should also mention that there are comics that come out, new comics that come out all the time that aren't listed in the previous catalog for one reason or another. Some small press publishers, there's people doing Kickstarters and stuff like that and they look like professional comics that you'd buy in a shop, but they're just not available in comic shops. You'd buy them online, or contact the creator directly, and they'll buy it from them. So there's comics that come out every month that aren't listed in here, but those are much more obscure generally, unless you're like connected with a certain group of people that are online that are doing their own Kickstarters and stuff. Anyway, so right now we're looking at the Boom Studios offerings that are going to be coming out in December 2024. And they'll have preview pages. And like I said, you can get all this information online. Usually websites like Bleeding Cool and stuff like that will have the solicitations. Here's what's coming out from Image, and so forth. So you can see here, well, that one says February, but this is like Minor Arcana. It says it will be on sale on December 11th. So if you wanted to buy this, you have, probably till late October to get your order in before you can't get it in. Now, some shops may be able to still get an order in afterwards, but your best bet is to just try to get it in before the final cutoff date. Okay, so now we're in Dynamite. So this is another publisher, Dynamite. Sort of the bigger independent publishers are listed first in the catalog, I think in alphabetical order. There's DuckTales #2. It looks like there's kind of something for everyone in a way. There's like kids comics, Powerpuff Girls, and there's also a lot of like, more adult-oriented fare. Then there's a few things that might interest people like me who are more nostalgia-oriented. Like there's this Green Hornet Miss Fury series here, which kind of looks interesting. And a lot of times the images that they'll show won't be the final images. Like there's a Johnny Quest one here, and it's like in black and white. I don't know if that's actually going to be in color or not. Sometimes you'll see cover images and it says like, cover not ready yet or whatever, cover not available, because they haven't made the final version of these covers in a lot of cases. So on the other hand, there is a sort of sameness to a lot of this too. Here's Titan Comics, sort of people with swords, a lot of, severed heads, blood flowing, bad girls. If you're into like that sort of thing, to me it's a little bit too 90s that I'm not sort of into that sort of thing. So there can be a lot of sameness to a lot of this, where you're looking for something interesting, especially if you're into old time stuff like me. You can even get t-shirts and stuff like that in here. A Doctor Who t-shirt. Right now this is all still Titan Comics. Okay, and then we get to what is this? This looks like Image. So this is all Image comics listed right here. Creep Show. A lot of stuff. And now it's printed at really small size, but I think Image also has their own catalog, sort of like these, like this Marvel one here. I think you could, but not every shop may have that. But if you wanted to order Image comics, this information is listed in here. Image is probably the third, biggest publisher out there. All right, and so now we're in Aftershock Comics, has their own stuff, and now we're in Ablaze. These are sort of the smaller independent publishers, but they're still sort of big enough to be at the front of the catalog here. And obviously I'm not going to have time to go through everything here. This is Massive. Let's see if I skipped one here. No, still Blaze. So this is Massive, which is another publisher, which does that new Popeye series that was previewed in the Free Comic Book Day this year. Zenoscope, which does a lot of the bad girl, stuff. Okay, and then this is Archie Comics, which, as you know, I'm a fan of. Here's an upcoming Archie Christmas Spectacular, which will probably be showing up in my subscription since I have a mail subscription. Desultory, or however that's pronounced. They do a lot of large-size arty-type comics. Some nice artwork and stuff, but okay, I think we're getting to the part now where it's the A to Z. Oh no, this is Dark Horse Comics. we're still sort of in the featured publishers section. See how it says cover to be revealed? Like there's listings for things, but you have to kind of really look to see. There's a Rich Corbin thing there. Some of the stuff is really expensive too, so you gotta be careful. They'll have like a regular edition of something as $4.99, but then it's like some sort of variant that'll be $70. So you gotta be a little careful. Okay, now I think we're in the A to Z section. So you have like AC Comics, and a lot of this, if you need reading glasses like me, you might also need a magnifying glass because some of this stuff is really tiny print. Back in the day, I would have been able to read it no problem. You have Ahoy Comics here, which is an interesting, sort of somewhat old-timey, traditional publisher. Nexus returns. So this is Valiant Comics, and this is the Valiant Comics section, and they have a Nexus series coming up, which might be interesting. Now, it's only a 2-issue miniseries, it says. Mike Barron is writing it, but Steve Root is not drawing it. But they have some preview pages to see what it's like. So anyways, well, the thing I was going to say was there's a lot of sameness to a lot of this. There's American mythology. A lot of monsters, a lot of blood, a lot of swords, a lot of bad girls, things that appeal to people that are really into sci-fi geek type stuff. So someone like me that's more into traditional comic books, especially like stuff from the 1950s and stuff, things that I might like are going to be really expensive, like hardcover books and stuff like that. They're going to be books more than, regular regular size comic books, which is kind of unfortunate because I don't like to pay that much, and probably a lot of people like me, of my age, aren't accustomed to paying a lot of money for comic books. We're used to paying for very little for comic books. But anyways, you can still have some odd things in here. This is a publisher called Dren Publications, and they have a comic called Tales of the Bizarre, issue number 10, $5.99. Don't know what that's about. I've never read an issue, but whenever I see a listing like that, that's something that's a little more interesting to me. Okay, there's Love and Rockets, Fantagraphics, one of the great comic books of all time, and still putting out new issues by Gilbert and Jaime Hernandez. I think it's $6.99 for a 32-page issue, or is that say 32? Like I said, it's fine print, but and it's printed at magazine size like the old Love and Rockets used to be. So there's something, like I said, something for everyone in a way, but you really have to dig for it. There's like an ElfQuest thing. You also have to kind of pay attention to what these publishers are. It'll say at the top, like Gemstone Publishing, and this is what they have. You have to kind of pay attention to what you're looking at here. Hermes Press. See, this is the sort of thing I mean, where it's like, oh, the Phantom, the complete dailies, hardcover book, $68, so, or they're like graphic novels, even if it's like $15, it's kind of something that you might be a little hesitant to buy. This is a odd thing, The Human Fly, which was like a 1970s Marvel comic, but wasn't owned by Marvel. So this other publisher called IPE, or IPI, I guess. Not a great name, but this is $4.99 for issue number 2 of their Human Fly, which the cover looks like a pose that's kind of swiped from something, though. Not sure, it's hard to tell sometimes from these whether it's something you would be interested in or not. It's just a tiny cover image, but from this information you can go online and look it up on the website and so forth. Dick Tracy is from Mad Cave. They're also doing Flash Gordon and Gotchaman. So lots of stuff, but like I said, it can be kind of disillusioning because after a while there's a sameness to it, and you're going, I'm seeing a lot of stuff, like things that I might be interested in, like Alley Oop comic strip. It's really expensive, or here's a thing of Oni Press, Shiver suspense stories, and this is Epitaph from the Abyss. Now they've revived EC Comics doing horror stuff, but so this is a perfect example where it's $4.99. Okay, sounds great. But if you go on YouTube, look up reviews, a lot of old-time fans are like, oh, this is a travesty. It's not up to the par of, this Cruel Universe, another EC one. It's not up to the par of the original EC. And some people were saying, oh, try a different, here's another Marvel. Marvel used to publish the Sectars back in the 1980s. So Oni Press has been doing that. So you kind of have to pay attention. The publisher name is written on the side on this one. Oni Press is a big publisher. Paper Cuts, they publish a lot of kids stuff. Penthouse Comics. This is just an A to Z this is sort of the A to Z section. Rebellion 2000 AD. Now this is something I've never ordered but have thought about. Is 2000 AD is a British comic book that comes out like every week, I think, or something like that. Maybe every month. And they're available in England first, obviously, and they're not available individually, I guess, here in North America. You have to get these packs. So they'll have packs of something. Now, this actually looks pretty cheap, but where you can order them individually. That might be something to order. What they've usually been doing is this thing where you would have to spend like $25 to get like 4 issues. And most people don't want to do that, I think. I certainly haven't wanted to do it. But here it looks like you can order them individually, which I've not seen before. I don't think it was like that. So this is something I may have to try. Not that I'm a particular fan of 2000 AD. Most of the time I haven't really dug it at all, but it's an anthology comic that's something different and interesting. So if you're looking for something different and interesting, which you know is going to be on a professional level because it's a professional comic, that might be something to check out. This Mysterious Traveler thing. This company is, I think, as a PS Art Books. They publish a ton of facsimile reprints, but I think a lot of it is just sort of the same sort of public domain stuff you would get off of the internet. They have this facsimile edition of Master Comics number 16, which was like a Fawcett comic from the 1940s. But their facsimile comics are like $15.99. I've never bought one for that reason because I'm not spending $16. Here's another thing, Monster Fun. This is from Rebellion. It's a British kids humor comic. Again, you can see all these at larger size on their website, previous website. So lots of stuff here. Again, there are international publishers that aren't available here, like Frew in Australia, who does the Phantom comics. I wish they were available in North America, but apparently they're not. So the only way you can get those Frew Phantom comics is like on eBay, or if you import them, somebody but apparently the postage is a killer trying to transport things. The postage would be more than the comics. You get magazines like the Cinema Retro, so not everything is specifically a comic book. They also have some magazine type things. Sumerian is a publisher. Then you have, some of these Taschen art books. So there's something like, in a sense, like I said, for everyone, in the sense that there's these, if you're an old time Marvel fan, there's books here. But this Quantum is a British science fiction anthology, $7.99, full color. Tomorrow's, which does a lot of, there's Alter Ego and things like that. Sometimes it'll say OA, that means it's offered again. It's not a new item, but it was like this Working with Dicko by Jack C. Harris. This is a trade paperback book, and it's being offered again. Now, you could just order it from their website, though. But then you have the new issue of Alter Egos right here. So that's not offered again. Tripwire Winter Special. Tripwire is a British, if people are looking for like a magazine like Wizard or something like that covers new comics, like a comics news magazine, I think Tripwire is probably the closest you're going to get. That's $10 and it's 100 pages full color. Let's see if I can get that back in there a little better. 60 Years of Marvel's Daredevil. So Tripwire, if you're into trying a comics news magazine and you're like, how come they don't have things like Wizard anymore? Not that it would be like Wizard, it'd probably be better and more intelligent stuff. More artistic, probably, more art-minded rather than, From the Tomb was like a British horror magazine. So Vault Comics, we still got a ways to go here, but like I said, I'm probably not going to get through all this. It would take you just a day just to get through all this. There's a lot of manga, so whatever you're into, there should be something here. When I first got a previous catalog back in like April 1997, when I'd never heard of the previous catalog, but the local comic shop, when they found out I was looking for a certain comic and I found it on their shelf just by chance, they were like, oh, well, add it to your pull list, and you can get every month get a previous catalog, order stuff out of it. I was amazed. And I looked through every page of the catalog they gave me. Like I said, this was the first time I'd ever looked at it back in 97. And I ended up finding one comic that I thought, well, I'll take a chance on that. It was not expensive. It was like $2.99 or whatever. And then you have the flip side here. And this is other stuff. like merchandise, I think, like toys and stuff. So if you're not into that, but see if it shows the. Here's the to place a quick order. Use the short order form. But anyway, so I tried just one comic. And that's what you could do. You can if you go through the catalog, take all day looking through the whole thing, Funko Pops. And if you find one thing that you want, that's good enough. You know, I mean, unless the shop has a limit, oh, you have to order 5 or whatever, you know. But which is at that point you just maybe think about trying another shop. So that's it. There's the side of what it looks like. So that's the catalog. But like try one, you know, if you look through the whole thing, spend all day looking through every page, find, you know, write down as you're going through it so you don't lose track of where you're, you know, what you're doing. And if you find one comic, take in, you know, just maybe write it on a sheet if you don't want to tear out the page. Take it into the shop, say, I want to pre-order this, see if they can do it. If they can do it, then you're all set. And like I said, pick up the Marvel and DC one while you're there if they have them. And you can look through those too and see if there's anything coming up that you want to get. And then the most important thing, though, is when the comic comes in, buy it. You know, don't stiff your comic book shop by ordering something and then not coming in and buying it. And you got to be careful too when you buy something, because you don't want to buy something and get a surprise. Like sometimes they may have a thing where they change the price, where it's like, oh, this was accidentally listed at $1.99. It's supposed to be $10.99. You know, you gotta be careful of that. And then when it comes in, I thought it was $1.99. No, it was a mistake. So you can, you know, it's not a perfect system, but that is probably more of a rare case that something like that would happen. Anyways, I hope this has been a helpful video. Support your local comic book shop. Support indie creators, because a lot of indie creators, they're putting in their orders here. You know, there may be very small creators in here. They're putting their orders. They're hoping you buy their comic. Cosmic Lion Productions, for example, here. You know, they put in their thing. They're hoping people buy their indie comic. Will people even see their indie comic? You know, Comics Tribe has put in a thing here, a issue. Will you buy it? You know, a lot of shops aren't going to buy this comic because they don't know anything about it. Comicsburg is another indie publisher. So this is a way to support creators who are putting out good stuff. You know, some of these comics may not even come out if there's not enough orders. You know, if 2 people ordered it, you know, then they're not going. The comic isn't going to come out. They're, you know, just cancel the order. But sometimes they may be delayed as well. There's websites. I'll have some links to where you can see what comics are coming out every week, and sometimes the comic may be scheduled for December 3rd, and it doesn't come out till, you know, February 12th or whatever. So, anyways, so if you're interested in comics, interested in supporting new comics, even just wanting to see what is coming out these days, go to your local comic shop, see if you can get a previews catalog, and check it out. Thanks for watching.